Isn't that crazy? What's up, Grappa fans? Today I'm going to give you a little insight into why my 1967 6.7 Powerstroke swap has been sitting out here under a tarp for over a year, and what I'm going to do about that, because these diesels do not like to sit and it's just the worst thing for them. So with that, I'm going to get right into some work on it, and then I'll explain everything, like why would somebody leave such a truck project sitting for so long. I'm going to explain all that and show you a little bit of what I'm doing to get this thing running again and back where I left off. Here's a look at some of the things I just picked up for this rig. So I've got one battery here. The other one, they only had one in stock at O'Reilly, so I got to wait till the other one comes in from their other store. A couple hours, I'm going to head back and get the other one. But the ones I had in it were Motorcraft, and they have a warranty, 36 months, and I just let the thing sit, and they were both bad, so got those replaced under warranty. Then I did buy some more Motorcraft stuff here. I don't mind the Mobile 1 box. That's just what they had to fit these in to help me, because I was holding my baby when I went into O'Reilly's. But we got Motorcraft oil filter and fuel filters, both the one under the hood and underneath the cab there. I was tempted to throw some seafoam in this thing, you know, because it says right on there it's fine for diesels, and this stuff is just super common, tried and true. But it is not recommended if you do some research into the forums and all for these new CP4 pumps, which is what I'm most concerned about. These trucks are super sensitive to, you can't really tell what I'm looking at here, it's a big tarp, but there's a 2016 Powerstroke underneath there. And they're super sensitive to water, fuel contamination. You know, if you accidentally put gas in your diesel truck, you're going to spend $10,000 on your fuel system. So I'm hoping my fuel system can withstand having sat for so long. So right now I've got fuel draining out of the tank. I did that by opening the fuel filter drain valve and the fuel filler neck where you actually put diesel in the truck. I've got those both open. It's draining into a container right now. It's going to take forever, so I'm just letting that do its thing. Then I bought a, here it is right there, 5 gallons of diesel. I'm going to end up making a few trips because those jugs are like $25 a pop. So instead of buying like 4 of them to fill up, I just am going to go back and forth and fill that one up. So this is more so recommended for these newer diesels. Hot Shot Secret. This supposedly has really good lubricity enhancing additives and all that good stuff, anti-gelling. I did park this thing with some Howes diesel treat in it, good amount, but I mean, diesel fuel just doesn't last that long. You know, this thing, I started this project like 2 years ago, and when I actually bought the truck, you know, it had been sitting at a salvage auction. I haven't had the 16 truck 2 years. I've had the yellow one about 2 years, but it's been a long time, at least 1.5 years this fuel's been in here. And I did drive it around some when I first got it. You know, took it to McDonald's with the boys.
We're just here waiting in the McDonald's drive-thru.
My new truck, I think I got a good deal on it. They told me it never been an accident. They'd probably buff out.
Clean Carfax.
Yeah, clean Carfax. Did a few burnouts and everything. See what you'll do. And I had fun with it after I cut it up, but it's been sitting pretty much ever since, besides I moved it around my yard once. So I'm draining that fuel, and I'm starting fresh with this stuff, which supposedly has better lubricity enhancing, because that's, you know, what will wear out the metal parts in your pump. So I'm going to do that. I also got Motorcraft oil in here. I'm doing an oil change on it, because this is the oil that's been in it since I bought the truck from the salvage auction, and it is pretty black. So I got something to drain it in. I got my socket for the fuel filters. I got some charcoal in case I get hungry, want to grill some burgers. So I think we're pretty set up here. I also want to mention that we just had Hurricane Ian come through, just to give y'all a reference of time if y'all are watching this in the future. I'm in Northeast Florida, so it didn't hit us too bad. But I'll show you real quick what I did to get this thing ready. Not my proudest setup, but luckily this palm tree didn't come down on it. So we're about to see what's underneath the tarp. Obviously this tarp is faded and kind of ripped up, and water's definitely going to get through that. But I did put a layer of plastic under it, which I'm hoping held up well enough. But with this hurricane coming, I want to double that up and do what I can to protect that thing. Got my baby hollering at me over there. And then also we've got the 1971 crew cab long bed that's destined to get a full drop swap and a Cummins one day. And you can see the plastic I put on it totally ripped up, and luckily the carburetor's not exposed, but I bet this thing would fire right up. Don't you even worry about it. She's a trooper. This 300 inline six, you can't really kill it. And this one honestly would go down the road fine if I bled the brakes on it and I put the front clip back on it. I started to swap this one over to the 2016 truck and decided I don't really want to cut it up because it's actually kind of nice. It just looks terrible. So that one's kind of waiting for its turn. This one is so rusty that I don't mind cutting it up. Some of y'all may not realize how rusty this 1967 crew cab actually is. This is totally separated here. Needs a new fender, needs all this. Luckily I have a couple of single cabs that I'm taking parts from. Just went through all the spider webs to get the straps off on this side. About to do the same on the other. It's got an equal amount of scary stuff going on over here. You can probably see in the light, maybe not. There's spider webs every couple feet. And by the way, if y'all haven't seen already, these are 42-inch Nitto trail grapplers on this thing. Brand new. They have 0 miles on them, and they're sitting here in a hole, just kind of getting ruined. So I gotta get this thing going sooner rather than later, but it's just been one thing after another here lately. All right, around to the front, you can see my top-notch hail damage protection right here. Got some insulation that, you know, hopefully is doing something. We'll see. And then, all right, we got that off, and this should just be chilling here now. So we'll take a look under here. It's looking pretty decent. Little dusty, little rusty. What is all this? Oh, this is part of my tarp. That's tarp dust. Okay, that's not too bad. Something's crawling on me. Over on this passenger side, just cannot get enough of how big these freaking 42 by 1350s are. They're so tall and skinny. I'm definitely not going to be keeping the newer wheels once this thing's done. I don't want any sign of it being new underneath. But right now I want to see what's up with this dirt dauber situation. I'm sure they're probably still living in there. And yeah, we've had squirrels just having a great time in here. This is awesome. Hopefully they have enough acorns to eat that they haven't been interested in my wires too much. But I mean, they're right there next to where they're eating. So, this paper was a dumb idea. I mean, we put freaking painter's tape, masking tape on the dash so that it wouldn't scratch the dash when we slid the green cab over, and now it's just a sticky mess. But maybe I can peel off the dirt daubers with it. Okay, I think that was an old one. Nothing flew out yet, but that worked. Now I have this going on, but okay, well, that's all I found that's super, you know, unwanted besides the squirrels living in here. But I haven't seen anything else too crazy yet. Frame still looks pretty clean from the fluid film I sprayed on it before I parked it. But you can see overall this thing is relatively clean and patiently waiting for me to give it a new life. And here's this front section of the green single cab that I bought that was rust free. Had this short bed here, and the other half of the cab is laying on the ground over there. But this is gonna replace all the rust in the front part of the black crew cab. You can see all these holes here. So I got a whole new front section that's gonna go on around the dash, which I've already test fit that. That's about as far as I got before I had to move. From there, we'll be reusing the centerpiece here, patching it up, getting a whole new drip rail, and kind of redoing the roof between a couple single cabs. And I got some plans for that to make it look right. So that's gonna be a whole process as well. But the main thing right now is preventing this thing from getting ruined. You can see here, this is all still looking good. I didn't have any trees come down on it. Once I get the batteries hooked up, we'll be able to turn the key, make sure all this stuff is working. It was pretty dead the other day, so it wasn't doing much. Hopefully that's all it is, because there is some evidence of some squirrels and hopefully not rats pooping and eating, you know, acorns and stuff in here. So hopefully they didn't chew any wires, anything important. I am trying to keep as much of the 2016 up underneath as possible, as far as the engine and just what makes this thing go, what makes the AC work, you know, all the stuff that makes this thing work I want to keep. But I do want it to look as much like this 1967 as possible when it's done, so I'm going to try to hide that all in there. So if I have to do some modifications, I'm going to have to do some modifications, let me put it that way. I'm going to be stretching this body, you know, mainly lengthwise, you know, getting the wheel wells right. Instead of cutting up the frame on this nice 16 truck, I plan on chopping up this rusty old cab. So I'm going to be lengthening the cab instead of shortening the frame. So that's going to be a whole pain. That's why I got this green truck all cut up in sections here. Be using both ends of that. Nice little Oreo sandwich to make this thing the right dimensions that I want. Also going to make room for these 42-inch Nittos. I plan on having this thing on at least 40s at all times, maybe some 42s at some point. So I went ahead and put the 42s on it so I could build around that. Let's get into why is this taking me so long? Why did I put this thing on pause? And some of y'all may have noticed I'm from North Carolina. When I started this truck, I was in Alabama, and now I'm in Florida, and that's because I'm in the Coast Guard, and like most branches of the military, you move around. So the Coast Guard may, you know, keep you more coastal, keep you on the US side most of the times, even though there are some opportunities to go overseas. It's a nice, you know, version of the military that I really appreciate, being able to be home and protect people right here. With the storm, we've had some response. I'm a helicopter mechanic. I've been having to work on and off with that. But in the past year, I actually went through this whole tryout and initiation and just overall like battle of wits and, you know, physical ability. Let me spit this out. The Coast Guard has snipers, okay? It sounds kind of silly, but there is a unit of the Coast Guard that is focused on stopping drug boats from getting their payloads to the States. And most of the Coast Guard ships and boats and everything cannot catch these, you know, go fast drug boats, whether it be a speedboat or a little panga style, you know, they got all these words for it, with a bunch of Yamaha outboards on the back. It's typically what they use down there. I think that's kind of funny. Yamaha Enduro outboards. I think that was funny. That's what I noticed in my experience so far from it. But anyway, in order to stop these boats, the Coast Guard has started shooting the engines out with a trained sniper from a helicopter. And one of the prerequisites to do this job is to be a helicopter mechanic, which there's 2 different jobs you can do for that. You can look up all this stuff about the Coast Guard. I'm not giving y'all too much information, but as far as the rates or job titles that the Coast Guard offers for aviation enlisted, we're talking here, you can either be an aviation maintenance technician, which is what I am, or an avionics electrical technician, which I have a lot of friends, we work right alongside them. But either way, you have to be one of those in order to be at this specific unit that does the counter drug sniper mission. So me having the prerequisite and loving shooting and just wanting to make a career out of the Coast Guard, I was like, why not? I'm gonna go for it. I'll try out. So it was a week-long tryout process, which I was accepted into the training program. Then that had me move to Florida for the rest of the training. So I'm in the middle of swapping this thing over, and I'm like, heck yeah, this is an awesome opportunity. Like, this can wait, I'll finish it. Also, at that time, we were trying to have a baby, and we were very fortunate to have my wife get pregnant super quick. So as y'all seen, my little girl I was just mentioning, I carried her with me to O'Reilly's earlier. She is a beautiful little blessing that takes up all my time in the best way. I love spending time with her, so I have had a hard time getting out here and working on this thing. But between the rigorous training for my job that entails month-long school in this state, 3-week school in that state, 2-week school in a different state, I've been all over the place. I got right to the end and didn't make it through, kind of going my separate ways from that whole career path, even though it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. Some of y'all may remember some of my older videos. I had more of a double chin, lost some weight, working out all the time. Really exciting stuff. It just didn't quite make it, and I could always try again, but it just took a lot out of me. So we've got my daughter that I can't really use as an excuse. I mean, other people have kids and you can still work on your truck, but really more of just a blessing that I was going to put first. You know, I put her first, and then the job wanted to come first. So that was always a balance of studying. You know, there's a lot of maritime law enforcement stuff I need to know as far as when you can and can't shoot to keep yourself out of trouble and keep people from getting hurt, because there's still people on this boat trying to get away. And sometimes they cover up the engines with their body so you don't shoot them and arrest them. So that's been really challenging. But another factor I want to mention to y'all that, you know, I hate to put it this way, but my mom has cancer, and that has been challenging, trying to spend as much time as I can with her while I'm stationed in another state. She's from North Carolina like myself and is still there. So I have some efforts going right now to get back to North Carolina more permanently than my last couple units. There is a place there I can get stationed, so I'm working with my bosses and supervisors and the command, and they've been really helpful so far and understanding, but I don't have an answer right now. So this is a rant, but I just want to let y'all know I've had a lot going on that I haven't really been sharing with you guys. It's been really tough. My life has been a little bit like a sad country song for a while now, between my truck sitting here looking like this. You know, I've had some nice stuff. You know, I fix up things, and I've never really let anything sit here this long. It's hard to look at. Not successfully making it through the precision marksman job that I wanted to do, that's pretty upsetting. And then to find out my mom's got cancer. I've already lost my dad in 2019, so it's been tough to find time for these things, and that's okay. I want y'all to know that the plan is to finish these things, but it's going to be on my time. I'm not ever going to put it first and make it you know, come between me and my family. So with that, I'd like to, with positivity, move forward here, get this thing going again. For right now, the plan is to get this thing in a status to where if I do get permission to move to North Carolina to a new unit to take care of my mom, who doesn't really have any family around her, everybody's died or moved away, then I can start it right up, put it on the trailer, and go. As of right now, I'm concerned I couldn't do that because of the fuel sitting here and just overall not taking care of it. So I'm trying to take care of this thing better, get it ready. I always thought it was only going to sit here for a couple weeks and I'd get right into it. Y'all may have seen I started working on putting a shop over here. So this is where I had dirt brought in, and I made a gate and a driveway out of my backyard. I was going to put a 24 by 40 or so shop right here. Also, here's another peek at my Ford Excursion. If y'all remember, when I brought all this stuff here from Alabama, I bought a first gen Cummins just to tow it all here, and then I resold it. Well, this time around, I've got this Excursion on hand, ready in case I'm able to move and I need to bring all my trucks with me. And the family. This thing's got great AC, everything you need to haul the family, and 6 or 7 project trucks with you. So pretty excited about that. Obviously, I've got the nicer 95 Ford Bronco in the garage right now, which y'all probably seen here and there. But all this stuff in the back here is pretty much junk until I get it all put back together. I also got the little shop truck here that I'm hauling stuff with, and I've been driving 100 miles a day back and forth to work because we decided to live at the beach versus right by the air station that I work at. So we're gonna check on this fuel situation, see how much is left. This thing only had about a quarter tank in it, and I'm about to fill up my container. So I'm gonna get off camera, get back to work, throw some batteries in this thing. We're gonna move it over to the concrete there, just so I'm not laying in the ground with all the spiders and snakes and everything that's over here, and see if we can make just enough progress to have this thing ready to go. Just switched out my container that's catching the fuel, and I realized this Bronco is in the way. And if you haven't seen this one, I picked it up for $1,100, needing some transmission work. It does need a paint job as well, but considering how nice my paint job came out on my Bronco and how cheap that was, I'm excited to fix this one up for my father-in-law. It also, you know, needs seat and carpet and all that stuff, but it needs hundreds of dollars worth of stuff plus a paint job and transmission thing. So we're keeping this thing under $10,000 is the plan, but right now it is in my way. So I'm gonna reconnect the battery, try to get it out of the way. It doesn't really move by itself that well. It's got some issues, but that is something I'm also trying to get to a shop, get some paint on before we leave. So we'll see maybe more content on that in the future. So I figured I'd include it in this video since the 6.7 swap is quite a process. So I'm gonna pop the hood and get this battery connected, see if it's dead. It's got a new battery in it, but it's been sitting here, and sometimes I jump start the old lawnmower with it, you know. So just keeping it real country around here, and a little bit of hurricane. All right, the battery sounded hot when I hooked it up. This thing kind of leaks some, and it's pretty gross in here. So I'm gonna spend as little time in here as possible. I don't know what's living in here. This thing is gonna be totally gutted here. So let's see what she wants to do. Any minute now. I don't know why the key won't even turn. Maybe the steering wheel's locked. Nothing ever goes well on camera. I swear. I can't even turn the key. What is going on with that? Isn't this an ugly steering wheel, by the way? The shape is just awkward. And now I did lock the steering wheel. All right, I just got it started with that and a little of this. So it just goes to show you, letting stuff sit. You know, that ignition got seized up. So, I mean, it's just not good for anything. I'm surprised it started, though. I did put ethanol-free gas in it, but I'm gonna get it out of the way so we can move this rig and start working on it. I'm gonna let it idle down some, though. She's been sitting for a while or so. Look who just woke up from her nap. I had the monitor out here while her mom went out to get some errands done. So I've been tinkering out here for a nice long, probably hour or so while she was sleeping. We got the blue Bronco up to operating temp now. It's been idling while I changed her diaper and everything. And it sounds pretty good. And it did move pretty well under its own power. It just seems like if it were a manual, it seems like the clutch is slipping. Or not engaging or something, but it being automatic, putting it in drive, you have to give it a ton of gas to get it to move, is not right. So I'm still working on figuring that out. Once I do, I plan on stripping everything out of the inside and out, and taking it to get painted, and then putting it back together a little bit nicer, and then from there driving the heck out of it, figuring out what it needs, maybe even rebuilding the engine. So we'll see what happens with that. Well, I thought I fixed it, but I think I broke it more. As you can see, the truck is still running and the key is not doing anything. So that's exciting. It's trying to start, and I had the battery totally disconnected, and it keeps starting itself and running. Oh, there it went. The freaking starter was going the whole time, so it wouldn't turn off with the battery because it was just like charging itself and it kept starting. So now as soon as I connect the battery again, it probably is going to start. That's super weird. This thing is all jacked up. Don't let your vehicle sit. And so that thing was running, even though I disconnected the battery. That was kind of exciting. But just ran out. I got some of our favorite Korean barbecue stuff. They got all kinds of like boxes that have totally different, like kimchi and spicy pork is what we got, and then like really good noodles and everything. So gonna get inside, eat that. We got some more fuel for the truck as well as my other battery, so stay tuned. This tastes a lot better than it looks. I realize I already dug into it, but here's spicy pork, whatever this cabbage stuff is. Usually there's kimchi, but this is good too. These noodles are, I don't know what's up with them, but they're great. Rice and some pot stickers. My wife's laughing at me, so she's gonna be in the video. And she's talking to our baby's godmama, so she's in there too. And one was over there playing with some toys because she already ate her quesadilla. So there's a little real life update on the food. All right, so I just scoffed down some of that delicious food. It's a little spicy, so hopefully it doesn't come back to bite me. But I'm gonna put this other 5 gallons of diesel in there, as well as this Hot Shot Secret diesel additive. It says about 1 fluid ounce per tank, or you could do a double dose of 2. So I'm just gonna do 1 fluid ounce with this like half tank that we're dealing with here. I imagine I'm gonna have like 15 gallons of fuel left between what was in there that I didn't drain out and these here, and then I do plan on topping it off with some fresh fuel afterwards. But for now, I want to get this under the hood fuel filter changed, just because it's easier to get to. I don't have to crawl around down under here. Go ahead and do that one. Prime the fuel pump there with the key like 6 times or whatever, maybe 7 times for good luck, and then try to start it up, back it up, avoid running into the Bronco, and then pull it over onto my patio so I can crawl around without being in the bugs and sticks and everything. I'm going to do this before the rest of the fuel just to mix it in a little bit better in my mind. This is what's left of my gas cap here. I've got it kind of finger tight-ish, and I just had it finger tight. We'll see. There we go. So yeah, this is what's left of my green gas cap. I think we ripped it off when we took the old bed off. So normally that would come out right about here. Obviously there's no hole here. On the bump side trucks, it would have been on the cab. You maybe see that hole over there. It's right back here. So let me open this one up. This is a crew cab. I don't know why I'm thinking I have to show you over there. There's the gas tank, and then this one, it's behind the back seat since it actually has a back seat. Anyway, I routed this up this way right before I started today, just so I could kind of gravity feed this down in here. It's been working great. My goal is to ultimately have it up in here, right in front of the tire. Let me get away from the sun, but I want to have it tucked up in there, kind of in the factory 2016 location, but without cutting up and putting a hole in the old body, because I don't want it to look like it has a weird gas setup. I want it to look original. So I'm going to end up having this thing sit high enough that I can put my fuel nozzle right here and have it have a black cap and you not even notice it in there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for that. But for now, we'll go ahead and open this up and see if I can pour in this little top thing. It has like a separate shot glass size on top, and then it like vents around to it. I don't really know how it works, but I'm going to try to get just this 1 ounce in there. And it seems like it all went in. And then I don't know how you fill it back up. It's kind of interesting. I'll play with that more. I'm gonna put the cap back on. Just finished swapping out that filter, and I drained some of the fuel from the old filter into here just so you can kind of have an idea how that's looking. There was still some water in this bottle, so maybe a little bit of water in there, but a couple chunks floating around. Doesn't look terrible, but it's not like super concerning color or anything. So I'm going to connect up these 2 batteries and then cycle the key so I can prime that filter that's completely dry right now, and then see if it wants to fire up. All right, got my keys here, and we're going to see what happens. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cycle the key. That's, oh yeah, hear that? Hopefully that's it getting the air out of the lines. Pop sounds good so far. I think that's 3. And good way to do this, kind of like just look at your go plug light. as it goes in and out, that pretty much is one cycle in my opinion. So you can see it there, and then it's out, so it's been on long enough to cycle. I lost count, but I think one more ought to do it. I don't hear any more bubbles, and plus this amount of cycling is for if you did both filters, and I've only done one. I am going to have to redo this process once I do the other one, but let's see if she starts up. Fresh batteries and a little bit of fresh fuel. Ooh, did not start. Now I think the way that sounded, like it didn't even try. I do just have these batteries hand tight on here, like not even tightened down, so I may have a bad connection there. So we'll see. Well, that's not good. Might even end up having to do this off camera because the camera hates me and nothing wants to work on camera. Maybe I just have some corrosion on the terminals. I'm cleaning these up with a worn out old wire brush. Kind of need both hands, but just so you get the idea, I think this may be my problem, and that, and maybe tightening them down instead of just putting them on hand tight. We'll see. Both sides are cleaned up and still not tightened down all the way, but we'll see if that does the trick. And now we know the fuel is good and cycled. It's been a bunch of times, and waiting for the glow plug light again, and we'll try it out. Heard a couple scary noises at first. I think the fan blew off some acorn or something. I was a little concerned there for a second. All right, we got low tire pressure, my key active. So I learned, I'm probably all sweaty and gross, but I learned in my burnout video why this thing wouldn't do a burnout was because it has my key, which is a thing that Ford came up with for like valet parking, or if you want to let your 16-year-old kid drive your, high horsepower truck, you can activate a key to be kind of a reduced power setting, and it won't let you do burnouts basically. So that's which key I've been using, is the my key, which is programmed to keep the thing mild and not let you go careening off into a ditch doing burnouts. So now that I have that figured out, we will be doing a different burnout video at some point, but obviously I have a lot more progress to make than to have that much fun, but I'll do that for y'all eventually. So I'm gonna let this thing warm up a little bit, and then we'll see if I can back it over to the patio. This will be the first time it's moved on these tires. I actually put these tires on it while I was sitting on jack stands here, and I actually had to dig them out because so they're like kind of buried. They're full of air, but they look a little low because they're buried. So this thing's gonna have to climb out of its own ruts as it's been sitting here forever, and hopefully everything goes smoothly there. All right, I'm gonna clear out some of these codes here. That door ajar, yep, I'd say so. And no tire pressures because I don't have the right TPMS sensors, but everything seems to be working pretty good so far, and see if we can get over there without running into any of the other projects. Shift to park. Why is it saying that? Check rear parking aid. That's my bumper, but my bumper's still on. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Why is it saying shift to park? If anybody knows in the comments, let me know. I don't remember it doing that before. It may think I need to let it warm up more. Very possible. I might try that. And we're gonna try moving anyway and just see what happens here. Thing has a exhaust leak over here, which sounds pretty sweet. Let me back up some more. Yeah, the Bronco's kind of in the way. So we're gonna do a little back and forth there. Oh, I got a check engine light. Oh, the 42s are rubbing. Ouch. Try to get a better angle over here. I've hit my truck. This is gonna be interesting with the 42s rubbing. Okay, I haven't hit that so far. Oh, getting close, getting close. Also close back here. I'm using this as a side view mirror right now. think I'm good. Tires are rubbing. Oh, yep, tires rubbed really bad. And stop. Oh! It's gonna be a 20-point turn. I had 38s on here and they didn't rub that bad. I'm surprised 42s are that much worse. I don't know why though, that's 4 inches bigger. This isn't really the way I planned to go. So maybe I'll reset. I was gonna back farther that way first. Oh, rubbing on everything. So here's a look at where it's rubbing, right where I figured. And I do plan on cutting all of this lower portion off anyway and starting my floor right here. So I'm might hit that with a hammer just so I can turn, or you know, cut it off real quick, because that's just, all this right here is going to be unnecessary for what I'm doing. But you can see, here's a look at it outside of its little grave there. It's been sitting for a while, resurrected. This thing sits tall on these 42s. I think this is like a 3.5 inch lift. And then you can imagine with the cab and everything how tall it's going to be. The plan is, actually I'm going to tell you all the plan in the next video for suspension and everything, but for this one, just want to show you how that all looks. Got real close clearance right here. We're going to have to massage the wheel well location a little bit. Plan on making it a little bit bigger just to fit that in there, but still keep it looking stock best I can. So yeah, I'm gonna make a little room here with a hammer, and then I'll move it back over here where I planned. So I think I made a little room right there with the old ball peen. Just bent that in a little bit, and like I said, I'm cutting that off. Everything I'm cutting off I'm not too worried about, but there are some things up forward here that I do want to protect and keep nice, since I plan on, you know, trying to keep as much as I can together, keep this thing running and driving. Because I mean, you take the bed off, I mean, this is a go-kart. Like, it's pretty crazy that this thing runs and drives like this and works so well. Hopefully it continues to. So this is the spot I'm trying to put it at, right here on my patio. Plan on using the tailgate of the old pickup as kind of a bench, put all my stuff on, and finish those fuel filter changes, as well as the oil and oil filter. Just found all this sludge in the bottom of my fuel filter down here. I don't know if you can see that. So that's not good. That's why I was being so cautious about the fuel in this thing. Got a big booger in there. So I'm glad we're getting this out. Hopefully it didn't cause any damage yet. You'll see, and the filter itself is pretty nasty compared to how white a new one is. So I'm gonna slap that thing in there, and I'll keep y'all posted. As we are running out of daylight, I do plan on finishing the oil change and fuel filter change here after dark, and then putting it back. But while you can see this thing, I want to do a last little walk around for the outro. If anything goes wrong, I will let you know, and you'll be seeing that. But as far as an outro goes, this thing is all stock, 100,000 miles. Running on 42s right now. You know, I got to put the Nittos on it first thing. I actually put 38 mud graps on it right away, but then ended up deciding to do 42s with the plan of building the truck around it sitting on 42s. So that's what I have going on there. So sadly, these brand new 42s have been sitting 0 miles on them, getting all, you know, sunk into the ground, and just sad. But you know what? I don't think it's gonna sit for too much longer. I'll be keeping y'all posted on this thing. I don't know exactly where I'm building it yet, whether I'm building a shop at maybe my new house if I buy another house. Maybe I'm gonna buy a little workspace to put it in, or rent one. I don't really know exactly what's happening yet with it, but I will be finishing this thing. I've got some parts already lined up for it. some help from some awesome companies, so I'll be explaining all that. But just kind of wanted to give you all an update of where my head's at, and how sad I am that this thing has been sitting, but also thankful I am to those that know I'm going to finish it, know it's going to be next level quality and just attention to detail through the roof. So thank y'all so much for watching. Hope you all check out the Instagram. I've also got a Facebook group now that's private. You can join that and share your truck on there, have people give their opinions on your lift, wheels and tires and everything. I even have a TikTok now, so be sure to check me out on all platforms and come back for the next video. Thank you.